Coming in at number 20 is the elusive running back out of Cincinnati and Jeremy Hill. He really exploded after Giovanni Bernard went down week 8. In those games, he had 222 attempts, 1,124 yards, and an astonishing 5 yards to carry, 9 touchdowns. The only thing that worried me is his fumbles. He had 5 fumbles last year, and if he continues this year, maybe Marvin Lewis brings Bernard back in to steal some of his carries. He had 7 touchdowns in the red zone, which makes me think he'll get the same opportunities this year. Jeremy Hill finished 10th in fantasy football points last year, even after only starting 8 games. That is some production. People are worried if Giovanni Bernard is going to take into his carries. I think he will take in a little bit, but I think he's more of a change of pace back. A third down pass catcher, I think Jeremy Hill will get most of the work. If you get him in the late second round, early third round, I think it will be a steal for your fantasy football team. Jordy Nelson of the Green Bay Packers comes in here at number 19 as he emerges Aaron Rodgers' favorite target in 2014. Jordy Nelson was the 3rd best fantasy wide receiver in ESPN standard scoring, so you see why we have him ranked here. On the season, he almost hit the 100 catch plateau with 98 catches, 1,519 yards, 15 yards a catch, and 13 touchdowns. Those numbers are great and even better for PPR scoring. Jordy Nelson was very consistent. He played almost every single game this year, and he was targeted a bunch of times, even getting targeted 10 plus times. He had a 209-yard game against the New York Jets. What makes Jordy Nelson so effective is the weapons they have on the Green Bay offense. They have Eddie Lacy and Randall Cobb, so teams can't just zone on him. When Jordy Nelson gets that one-on-one coverage, he usually makes the best of it. If you get Jordy Nelson in the 2nd or 3rd round, it would be great for your fantasy football team.
Connects with Julio Jones on that one. Touchdown, Atlanta.
Julio Jones, the wide receiver of the Atlanta Falcons, comes in here at number 18. After missing over half the season last year, he turned in a great season this year. 15 games played, he had 104 catches, 1,593 yards, 15 yards a catch, 6 touchdowns. There were some big fantasy football points. He had one of the best games for a wide receiver last year as he had 11 catches, 260 yards, and 1 touchdown. There were some huge fantasy football points. The real key here is if you can trust Julio Jones as your number 1 wide receiver on your fantasy football team. Can he stay healthy? If he can, I think he'll be one of the best wide receivers taking your fantasy football draft. Mr. Neckbeard, the kid out of Stanford, comes in here at number 17. Andrew Luck's draft position last year was 36, which is the 3rd or 4th round in ESPN standard drafts, and he should be taken way higher than that, maybe in the 1st or 2nd round. Andrew Luck was one of the most consistent quarterbacks in fantasy football, hitting over 300 yards 9 plus times. He turned in a great season with 4,761 yards, completed over 60% of his passes, 40 touchdowns, 16 interceptions, have a quarterback rating at 96%. With the Colts adding Frank Gore and Andre Johnson, Andrew Luck should even be more successful in fantasy football. If you're going into your draft thinking you gotta take a quarterback early, I think Andrew Luck will be your guy, because I think he'll turn another masterful season with the new weapons of Andre Johnson and Frank Gore. Peyton Manning's favorite target, number 88, Demaryius Thomas of the Denver Broncos, comes in here at number 16. In 10 of his 16 games last year, he had 100 plus yards. That's very consistent for a wide receiver. In 16 games played, he had 111 catches, 1,619 yards, averaged just under 15 yards a catch with 11 touchdowns and 70 first downs. With Julius Thomas now being in Jacksonville, I think he will be the Denver Broncos' number 1 red zone threat. I think he'll exceed his 11 touchdowns from last season. With Demaryius Thomas being the 2nd best wide receiver in fantasy football last year, I think you can take him in the 1st or 2nd round and be satisfied as him as your wide receiver 1 on your fantasy football team.